at your front door, trying to get a grip on the way the world's been torn into bits. There doesn't seem to be a place where you still fit. Everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. You got friends all around you. Everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Let the light of love surround you. You stand still, just don't know what to do. Every move just sends you in an endless loop. You're wrong, no matter what you do. You didn't mean to break them, but someone changed the rules. But everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. You got friends all around you. Everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Let the light of love surround you. Now the wind may not be at your back today. Any minute now, the weather's gonna break. Like time and tide, we are built for change. Step outside, don't be afraid, 'cause everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. You got friends all around you. Everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Let the light of love surround you.
So good morning, UUMAN. I'm David Krober. I'm a member of this congregation, and while Pastor Dave Dunn has been on vacation this summer, we've had this wonderful lineup of lay-led speakers, and today we're very blessed to have with us Friction Farm. Friction Farm is a husband and wife duo. They are internationally traveling troubadours. They combine storytelling, social commentary, and humor to create songs of everyday life, local heroes, and quirky observations. From ballads to anthems, each song is filled with harmony and hope. So today, on behalf of Aidan and Christine, who are Friction Farm, our Director of Religious Exploration, Lexi Brown, Music Director, Alex Peach, my fellow worship associates, and the dedicated technical team that is making today's live stream possible, I'd like to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Metro Atlanta North congregation, which we lovingly call UUMAN. We are a liberal faith community with the mission to nurture our spirit, strive for justice, and transform the world. No matter who you are, whom you love, or where you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. If there's anyone visiting us for the first time and you feel comfortable doing so, please stand and introduce yourself so we can worship together as friends. Do I have any first-time visitors over here on my desk? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Amy Richardson, and I'm happy to be here today. I'm looking for something different in my life, and I want to volunteer and do things within the
Welcome, Amy.
Her daughter entered World War and had some fun here.
Well, welcome. Any other first-time visitors? Yes.
Good morning. My name is Joan Rossi. I live in Roswell. Recently moved here from St. Louis, Missouri, and just exploring.
Welcome.
I'm her daughter, Margaret. So here. Glad to be here.
Welcome, Joan and Margaret. Anybody else over here? No? Any first-time visitors on my right over here? Okay, well, we're glad you're here with us this morning. There is a QR code on the back of your order of worship. You can scan that to get more information, or I believe there's also some things out at the greeter table. So we're glad you're here. The schedule for the summer RE activities and today's second-hour adult enrichment offerings are in your printed order of worship, as well as some upcoming events that we want to call out. As always, please go to our website or for members to the Breeze calendar to get more information, more details on where these things will meet. Today is a labyrinth activity for the kids. I don't see anyone in here, so if anyone else, they're all out there, okay? If anyone else wants to join the children for a labyrinth activity, you can run out there now. I want to make sure everybody knows to mark your calendars and try to be here next week. We're going to have a special service led by the social justice team that will focus on UU the vote. With the election coming up in the fall, they're going to lead us in some activities to help prepare how we can be involved and engaged in our community for the election. So I hope everyone can make it for that. And now, let us greet one another in the hand or elbow of friendship.
Morning. From Albert Schweitzer, in everyone's life at some time, our flame goes out. It is then burst into flame by an encounter with another human being. We should be thankful for those people who rekindle the inner spirit. So come, let us worship together.
Our chalice lighting this morning are words from Pat Uribe Lickety. And please join me if you will. The chalice we light this morning is a symbol of our faith. It binds us together as a people, a reminder that our strength is in our shared hope for humanity, and that our common work is the creation of beloved community among ourselves and in the world.
So at this point in our service, we share our joys with each other to celebrate them and our sorrows to divide the weight of the pain. If you're so moved, please feel free to come forward, grab a pebble, and introduce yourself at the microphone and share a joy or a sorrow with the community. For those of you on the live stream, if you have a joy or sorrow, please drop it in the chat.
Okay. I have three little rocks here. My first one is a joy that I'm better. I got really, really sick last week, and I never get sick. So I freaked out, and I had a stomach virus, and the next day I did the COVID thing, you know, make sure it wasn't that, and it wasn't that. So thank the Lord, I didn't have COVID, and it was a horrible stomach virus, and I missed y'all last Sunday. So sort of a sorrow and a happiness, I guess, both. The next one is that 2 weeks ago, I decided that I would harbor, because of that song we sang in choir not too long ago, If You Will Harbor Me. And I went, there's no exceptions not to harbor someone that really needs help, even if it's your ex-husband. So I harbored him because he had nowhere to go but a hotel, because just circumstances. And so he's been living with me the past 2 weeks, and it's very stressful to have your ex. Guess you can understand if you've been divorced, but he's moving out, so this is a joy. He's moving out next Wednesday. He's got a bed, he's got a condo. Yay. All right. And the third one is kind of a mix too. I am the worst in this room, I'm sure, with technology. So if anyone needs to get a hold of Richard Bomba, please do not leave me a voicemail, because I check it once a month, okay? Text me or call me or email me. Those three I do check. And I know I scared some people this past week by not following up with voicemails and texts, and I'm sorry if I worried anyone unnecessarily, because that's certainly not what I wanted to do, and I will do better. I promise I will do better at staying in contact, because I'm not used to having people care about me or love me or I just not. And it's a new thing for me to have a loving community of people that do care, and I certainly wouldn't want ever to make you worry about me unnecessarily. Worry about me if I'm not, but not unnecessarily. Okay, thank you.
I'm Luana. I live in a house that was born in 1890. And if any one of you have been by my house, the porch could fall on your head. Or you get a free shampoo when you walk in if it's raining, because it would leak on your head. And we have had these amazing masons, Armando, Jorge, and Rotillo. And they have taken the stones that were piled up in our yard and placed them on the porch. And every stone is a prayer. And I'm just so grateful for them and the beauty of our porch. And we're going to start having some music on the porch. So you got any kind of instruments, banjos you got at the auction, or violin, or guitar, or a voice, or just a foot that goes like this, recorder. We're going to start that on our porch. So.
Good morning. I'm Gary Denning. I'm a member here. I have three pieces of good news. The first, so you haven't seen me in about 8 weeks because I've been traveling continuously. So the first source of travel was going to see my younger daughter in New York, helping her move out of her dorm, and help her get all organized and help her finish her freshman year at NYU. And she did an amazing job, so very proud of her. She also just traveled with me to Poland and the Czech Republic, or now Czechia, and so had wonderful experience with her being around her 24 hours a day and actually not fighting, amazingly. So if you have a 19-year-old child, you probably can relate to that. Second, my older daughter graduated from University of Chicago, and so I was there for the graduation. We got poured on in the rain continuously all day long during the outdoor events, but it was okay. The most important part was she graduated, and she did quite well, so I'm very proud of her. And the third one is my mom just turned 80, so I was in Florida for a week spending time with her for her birthday.
Good morning. My name is Gus Haydorn. My father-in-law is going through some challenges right now, but the family is really connected to him, and we're working through that. But also I feel a lot of sadness about where the country is right now. I visited relatives in East Tennessee, where I grew up, a small town there called Sweetwater. And a lot of those folks, their political point of view is quite different from mine. But we had good conversations, and I think those conversations matter. I think we live somewhat isolated from an awful lot of people, both sides. And, you know, I'm hopeful, but I'm also quite concerned about where we are and the work that we have to do, and I think we all have to do it.
And I'll drop one final pebble for the joys and sorrows that are still too tender to escape the folds of our hearts. Please keep one another in your thoughts this week. Thank you.
Darkest hour, will you hang your head? Choose solemn tones, cower, and beg for forgiveness. I don't know if it will save my soul, but I will turn up the music and dance till I go the last distance. Heaven has got enough excuse makers, they could use a couple more hip shakers these days. These days. The skies turn dry and your crops won't thrive, will you lock up your storerooms, sell all your grain for a price to your friends? I believe if I am blessed with more, I will set a big table, throw open my doors, ask you in. This world has got enough deal makers, we could use a couple more bread bakers these days. These days. When the lines curtains are drawn and the flags are flown. In the name of what's right, we will do so much wrong in broad daylight. The time will come when you will have to choose. Do you care about something, or just if you win or you lose the next fight?
This world has got enough instigators. We could use a couple more peacemakers these days. These days. This world has got enough muckrakers stirring up hatred in troublemakers, selfish backbreakers, and users and takers. We could use a couple more peacemakers these days. These days. Yeah, this world has got enough war makers filling up coffins of undertakers, willing heartbreakers, and thieving dream takers. We could use a couple more peacemakers these days. These days. These days.
Well, I read the newspaper every day, and there are a dozen big, overarching problems every single day. The planet is melting down, but people are ignoring science. There's a war overseas and increasing gun violence here at home. Women are losing control over their bodies in my country, voter suppression in my state, and obvious effects of institutional racism in my little town. And at the same time, personally, I've just lost too many people. National treasures, beloved musicians and friends and family, and all in, it's a hard combination. Do you feel that? Do you feel exhausted and frustrated over all of that? Well, I just want you to know that you are not alone. If you're losing hope right when we need more hope than ever, I want you to know that I hear that from other people every day, and you're not alone. But I have never lost hope. Never, never, ever. And let's be clear that I don't think that hope is the same thing as optimism. They're two very, very different things. Optimism is sort of that general expectation that good things will happen in the future. Tends to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative. But optimism is this sort of general feel that the arc of the moral universe bends towards justice. And I'm not an optimist. But hope is a different thing. It's a belief, I think, in the possibility of improvement, combined with a belief that we have the ability to make it so. And for me, that elevates hope above mere wishful thinking. Hope is knowing that the arc of the moral universe must be bent towards justice, and believing that we have both the will and the power to do that. Václav Havel, the playwright and dissident who became the president of the Czech Republic, sees hope as a state of mind, not a state of the world, that is immediately experienced but anchored somewhere beyond its horizons. He also said that a hopeless enterprise stands at the beginning of most good things. But what do you do when your well of hope has run dry? I say, remember that you're not alone. And history can remind us of that. Historian and author Howard Zinn says, to be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It's based on the fact that human history is a history not of cruelty, but of compassion, sacrifice, courage, and kindness. Remember that organized protests by small groups of ordinary citizens advanced the civil rights movement, and that led to the Civil Rights Act. Bus boycotts, lunch counter sit-ins, marches, those things worked. Remember that millions of people took to the street on Earth Day way back in 1970, and that preceded the establishment of the EPA. So historically, you are not alone. I feel like in the past, a really big march was the culmination of long-term organizing, sort of the exclamation mark at the end of a sentence. And marches and organized protests, they grew from communities who bonded and grew stronger as a team. They didn't just hold a protest, they had some organizational capacity, which helped navigate what came after the protest. But today, it sort of seems like technology makes the big splash a lot easier. All the protests are bigger, they're all over social media. But the small root stuff is really what makes the difference. And while technology can help us make a splash, it doesn't always help us stay connected. Small actions by small groups growing together is what really drives change. So a few years ago, Black Lives Matter came into prominence. But you know, they'd been an organized grassroots group since 2013. And they got an injection of publicity and energy after the murder of George Floyd, but the group was already prepared to act at that moment. And that's what led to the change. And sometimes the change doesn't seem obvious, but we were in Mississippi, and the Confederate symbol has been removed from the state flag of Mississippi. I mean, Mississippi, y'all, really. So I hope that bit of history revived some of your hope. But just in case it didn't, I'll give you some science. In 2020, a group of researchers analyzed and combined results from experiments that included 25,000 people. And they looked at how our own altruism is affected after seeing someone else do good. And after reading about or seeing someone acting in a kind or helpful way, participants had an opportunity to be kind and generous themselves. Witnessing love or kindness had a measurable positive effect. 88 studies, every single one, suggest that we are decent by nature, just waiting for the inspiration to act. So trust the science. So there was one thing in this report that really struck me as evidence of hope. And that was that the response that we have to good works really matters. When we see people being kind and they are praised or rewarded for that action, we're more likely to be altruistic. Positive response was way, way more effective than shaming or denouncing any unkind behavior. So it matters. When we amplify the good, it helps balance out the bad news. We can remind people of our shared values, remind them that they are not alone. We can motivate each other to bend the arc. We need a little togetherness with this one, so you'll hear your part. We can make a difference if we try. We can change the world, you and I. There's a teacher at my daughter's school. Somehow she makes it seem cool to like complex calculations and poetry. It's a shame how little she gets paid, but I let her know she makes the grade when I vote to increase her salary. It's not much, but it's something I can do. Just a little thing, but if you do it too, we can make a difference if we try. We can change the world, you and I. A new couple moved in down the street. The neighbors haven't tried to meet 'cause they look and act a little differently. It might not change how people think, but sharing dinner and a drink says different is all right by me. It's not much, but it's something I can do. Just a little thing, but if you do it too, we can make a difference if we try. We can change the world, you and I. And the government for how money is made and money is spent. Well, the truth is, both of them are us. So I will act the way I think, help people swim instead of sink, share the joy of being generous. It's not much, but it's something I can do. Just a little thing, but if you do it too, we can make a difference if we try. We can change the world, you and I. We will change the world, you and I. Well, I hope that you found the history and science compelling, but just in case you need a little more, I want to share a personal story with you. So Aiden and I came to learn about the importance of childhood literacy. And as you know, we are hopeful people. So we decided that we could do something to make just a tiny effort to improve literacy among kids in the areas when we're on tour. We wrote songs inspired by kids' books. We would go read to the kids, play the songs, all with the firm belief that we could make a little bit of difference. It was pretty significant in our lives, but completely microscopic in the scope of national literacy. But we shared that information with our community of fans, and they sort of stepped in. We don't do any sort of crowdfunding, but so many people wanted to be a part of this that they crowdsourced on their own. They said, let us contribute to you recording these songs. Let us contribute to you getting to libraries that have no budget for you to be there. And they sparked so much hope in us by their willingness and their interest. It was a huge motivator, but also their investment made us accountable. Teachers and librarians we met were energized by a little program that they could participate in. And they dove in and helped us reach more kids and get actual books into their hands. And we were so energized by their work because we saw that we weren't in it alone. So did we move the dial on childhood literacy? No. But my kind of hope is a plan to help improve the odds of that possibility. Did we encourage one kid to try a chapter book? Yeah, pretty sure we did that. Did we make it easier for one kid to keep reading even though they were behind? Yes. We're not waiting for some utopian future. We are making tiny steps in the infinite present, an infinitesimal bend in that very, very long arc. To act in spite of all the negative around us is in itself a victory. The Reverend Norman Vincent Peale said, "You can change your life. I can change my mind. And together, we can change the world." Hope is too hard to sustain in isolation, and we feel a lot of isolation lately, I think. So I'm going to remind you again, you are not alone. But more essentially, the person sitting right next to you, they are not alone. Are you absolutely sure that they know that? Do you tell your social justice leaders that their work matters? Do you walk with them, write letters with them? Do you show them every day that they are appreciated and that they are part of something bigger than just themselves? Do you show them that they are not alone?
My mother never thought my daughter would still fight to speak her mind, to have a say in her own civil rights. But when men declare her voice categorically dismissed, there will always be women who persist. There will always be women who persist. There will always be
women who persist.
My forefathers came by ship, together with their clan. Architects of their own dreams, was this part of the plan? For every thug who guards the gate with a raised, clenched fist, there will always be men who coexist. There will always be, there will always be men who coexist. There will always be, there will always be men who coexist. One misguided spark falls on tinder to ignite, a raging fire growing much too big to fight. Malicious mobs may tattoo numbers on the wrists. There will always be angels in our midst. There will always be, there will always be angels in our midst. There will always be, there will always be angels in our midst. Be a woman who persists, be a man who coexists. Be an angel, be an angel, be an angel in our midst. There will always be, 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 there will always be angels in our midst.
I know that despair can be seductive. We can't change anything, so why even try? It's so clean, it's so finite. And hope, on the other hand, is so messy and inconclusive. Things might work out. There's a possibility of some margin of improvement. It's hard. So your neighbor might start to feel lonely, or a friend might start to slide towards despair. But they are not alone, because they have you. You can help them see the positive. So don't worry so much about your hope. Help restore their hope, because we are not alone. Thank you.
So in an effort to further and fulfill the vision and mission of this congregation, we ask that our members and friends give of their time, talent, and treasure. With that, we'll now take the offering. You may also give online using Givelify, or we're transitioning to Breeze. So if you've got that, you can give using Breeze. Reminder that this month's 50/50 recipient is UU the Vote. So any donations that are specifically specified as 50/50 will go to support the work of UU the Vote.
Got a little work to do around my house. Dust bunnies in the corner, enough to scare a real mouse. Nothing's gonna get clean around here
If I don't do my part, I got a little work to do. I guess I better start. I got work to do. I guess I better start. I got work to do. I guess I better start.
Got a little work to do around my yard. Weeds growing everywhere make tomatoes work too hard. Nothing good will ever grow around here
If I don't do my part, I got a little work to do. I guess I better start. I got work to do. I guess I better start. I got work to do. I guess I better start.
Got a little work to do around my town. Cracks in public buildings might
Bring this whole thing down. Nothing's gonna get fixed around here if I don't do my part. I got a little work to do. I guess I better start. I got work to do. I guess I better start. I got work to do. I guess I better start.
Never thought I'd matter much with just two small hands and a personal touch. I looked around for goodness sake. One more little push might be all it takes.
We got a little work to do
Around this place,
You and me together might be all it takes. We can set things right round here if we do our part. We got a little work to do. I guess we better start. We got work to do. I guess we better start. We got work to do. I guess we better start.
I got work to do. Guess I better start.
And you've got work to do. I guess you better start. We've got work to do. We've got work to do. We've got work to do.
By our members and friends for the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of love and compassion in our lives, our community, and the wider world. And now let us extinguish our chalice together and lead the reading. Okay.
Our extinguishing words are from Ben Atheron Zimmon. As we extinguish the flame on our chalice, we ignite it inside ourselves. Our commitment to our mission and to one another is an unquenchable flame. Let us remember that we are not alone until we light this flame next time.
Epicurus said, "It is not so much our friends' help that helps us as the confidence of their help." I hope that you are surrounded by the confidence of friends. May you also be that confidence for your friends. May it be so.
I am not mighty like a locomotive. My arms are strong, but they can't hold back the tide. But if I raise my hand and you raise your hand, together we will be counted like we matter in this land.
Raise your hand, sister. Raise your hand, sister. Raise your hand. Raise your hand, sister. Raise your hand, sister. Raise your hand.
When that comes around again, please join us if you'd like. I am not louder than the rolling thunder. I may speak, but I can't drown out the crowd. But if I raise my voice and you raise your voice, together we will be heard. We will sing above the noise. Raise your voice, sister. Raise your voice, sister. Raise your voice. Raise your hand. Raise your hand, sister. Raise your hand, sister. Raise your hand. I am not Superman, I have no superpowers. I have a strong heart, love enough to share. And if I raise my child and you raise your child, in a single generation we set our differences aside. Raise your child, sister. Raise your child, sister. Raise your child. Raise your voice. Raise your voice, sister. Raise your voice, sister. Raise your voice. Raise your hand, sister. Raise your hand, sister. Raise your hand. Last chance to sing. Raise your hand, sister. Raise your hand, sister. Raise your hand.
So that concludes our service. One quick correction, service reflection will meet in here starting up at around 11:15, and then poetry forum will be down in Fellowship Hall, room 3. So everybody, let's give them another round of applause to Friction Farm.